It has been 476 days since I confronted her about it. How do I know? Because every time I catch myself thinking about it, I tell myself, it's only been X days. Maybe you won't think about it tomorrow.
This case is a tragic story about a scorned mother who decided to take drastic steps to punish her husband. But there is a strange subplot about a Reddit post and how the internet got caught up in one of the most disgusting crimes imaginable. In 2016, Jason posted on Reddit looking for advice. He did this under the username Jason in Hell. He went to the relationship advice subreddit to seek solace and help for a case of his wife Brandy cheating on Jason with their neighbour. Jason described in detail that he discovered the affair with a neighbour and had a confrontation with both his wife Brandy and the neighbour, but ultimately made the decision that he felt was best for their kids to stick with his cheating wife. The situation became worse for Jason because his wife used Jason's previous suicide attempt against him, suggesting that this would be leverage for her, that Jason is unfit to care for the kids. Jason then posted on Reddit titled, "I am 30, having a hard time coping with my wife 29 having cheated on me with our neighbour." The post came over 400 days after the discovery of the infidelity, and it really went into the constant and obsessive ruminations that Jason has had since the affair, and how this was damaging Jason emotionally. Jason shared his experiences of catching Brandy, his wife, cheating with their neighbour over a year ago, and how he's been struggling ever since. Despite the discovery, he stayed in the marriage for the sake of their children. He regularly counts the days since confronting her, hoping each day will be the one where he stops thinking about it. The infidelity began when Jason was working long hours and noticed suspicious behaviour. Brandy added a password to her phone and gave vague reasons, but eventually Jason discovered explicit texts and messages between her and his own neighbour. Although he had plans to catch them in the act, he couldn't get solid evidence beyond the messages. When confronted, Brandy initially denied everything, but eventually admitted to the inappropriate behaviour. Though she insisted they hadn't had sex, she then threatened to use Jason's past mental health struggles against him to take their children. Feeling trapped, Jason decided to stay for the sake of his kids. He was forced to apologise to the neighbour, which was extremely demeaning and humiliating for Jason. And unbelievably, Jason and Brandy maintained social ties with the very neighbour that he caught cheating with his wife. And despite their agreement to work on the marriage, Brandy later sent more inappropriate pictures to the neighbour, claiming it was an accident. Though things had been quiet for a few months, Jason remained consumed by the betrayal. His job performance suffered, and he had difficulty sleeping or finding peace. He fears that seeking a divorce would make things even worse for his children. With no one to confide in, he went to Reddit.
Monsieur Ledude 530 points 28 days ago. You are trying to navigate this alone and you should seek counsel ASAP. You should have done this months ago. Your wife's threats should hold no weight until you can get a professional legal opinion on your exposure in a divorce. You won't be doing your children any favors by remaining in a marriage that is now founded on lies, infidelity, and outright bullying. She made you apologize to your neighbor? And you did it? Come on, man. You cannot honestly say that you see any sort of future here that isn't a hell on earth for you, so for your sake and the sake of your children, get to a lawyer ASAP and follow his directions to the letter. Could have been 148 points 28 days ago. I cannot believe you stayed with her. I cannot believe you begged her to stay. I cannot believe you apologized to neighbor, the cosmic serpent. Points 28 days ago smacked the shit out of that old man. Go to an attorney. I hope you saved all the evidence. And talk about ways to get custody of your kids. Your wife is a twat, Didara 77 8 points 28 days ago. He should have got a lawyer as soon as he had all that information together. It's been over a year now, and the wife knows he knows. He has no more hidden cards, and the element of surprise is gone. Unfortunately, OP made the wrong decision and caved to her blackmailing. Even if he had good reasons to do it, still wrong decision, and given her more power in this scenario. I think the best thing he can do now is suck it up and keep on keeping on. Guy 31.27 days ago. She is poison in your life. Get rid of it. And a dysfunctional family is worse for the kids than a divorce. As for the kids believing her lies, tell them not to believe anything she says about you or you say about her.
It was the advice and intervention of Redditors that urged Jason to step up and call it off with Brandy, demanding a divorce. This should have represented a pivotal and self-fulfilling moment for Jason to snatch back his autonomy, confidence and independence. But instead, it turned deadly.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's room on the floor.
In your daughter's room on the floor? Okay. What's your phone number, Brandy?
That afternoon, Jason Worley returned from work and the family went to Charlie's, the daughter's dance practice. After dinner at home, Brandy Worley went to Walmart, telling her husband that she needed pipe cleaners for a school project that Tyler, the son, was working on. Instead of pipe cleaners, she bought a knife at Walmart. When she returned home, she hid the knife in Tyler's bedroom before going into the living room where she and her husband played with their children together before Jason Worley put them to bed for the last time. Brandy Worley woke Tyler up for a sleepover in his little sister's room. In Charlie's bedroom, she straddled her son and stabbed him repeatedly. Charlie awoke at one point and asked what the mother was doing. When Brandy told her nothing, Charlie went back to sleep. Once Tyler was dead, Brandy stabbed Charlie to death. Worley then stabbed herself more than once in the neck, but survived. She was more adept at killing her small, sleeping children than killing herself, the prosecutor said.
Everyone wants an explanation for an unnatural event. A parent killing his or her children. Sometimes there is no explanation. Darkness is in this world, and it penetrates minds and our hearts.
Brandy Worley's sentences were 55 years for her son's murder and 65 years for killing her young daughter. These are consecutive sentences, accumulating more than 100 years. The moderators of Relationship Advice followed up after the murders with a notice about Jason and his previous posts, which really reflected the polarizing reaction he found online, with tough love and some criticism.
The intent behind much of the tough love advice in the original thread was obvious to all of us reading the thread and upvoting comments, as well as to Jason and Hell himself. However, the tone used for quite several comments was unnecessarily harsh, and may have failed to consider the reality of the situation, as best as we could have known. Hindsight is 20/20. Ultimately, this speaks to the fact that everyone participating here is doing so with limited information, and should be open to the possibility that there's more than meets the eye whenever providing guidance and advice. Going forward, all we ask is to please observe tone when providing advice, and realize the potential for complications which might make any advice difficult to follow. Something which seems obvious to any one of us is rarely ever obvious to someone in the weeds of the relationship itself.
An update from jasoninhelltl.dr. I am doing better and I continue to get better every day. The first thing you may notice is this is being posted from a different account. I deleted the #u Jason in Hell account in a knee-jerk reaction to seeing my Reddit posts in the news. I guess the first question to answer is how am I doing? And to that I would say I am doing well. I have bad days, but I would think that is to be expected. It is just important that I, or anyone going through something, continue to use the support of friends and family, as well as good coping skills to not let myself be completely defeated on those bad days. I won't lie. I struggled to get back to where I am. For some time, I refused to sleep because of combination of fear of what I would wake up to and nightmares about that night. For a time, I used alcohol to sleep, but my family loved me enough to take it from me before it became a damaging and permanent habit. I was hospitalized because I did have thoughts of ending my life because I missed my children so much. From that, I learned that you should never be ashamed of your mental health, and not seeking treatment will only make it worse, not better. We have all heard it. But if you or a loved one is struggling, seek immediate assistance. Your life is too important to throw away in a moment of weakness. By putting off treatment, I only caused everything else in my life to suffer. I lost my job and became reclusive to the house. But don't worry, I have been back to work since December, and I have nearly regained my former position and salary, so I am good and require no assistance. The second question would be, how do I feel about the sentencing? That is something that is harder to answer because no matter what the sentence, nothing will bring back my beloved children. Do I think she should have gotten the death penalty, which Indiana has? No, I do not. She wanted to die, and after 9 years of giving her what she wanted when she wanted it, I was not going to give her another thing. Do I think the life sentence will have any appreciable effect on her? I don't know. One thing she always stressed for the entire time that I knew her was that she lived her life without any regrets. Even after I caught her cheating on me, she continued to say she had no regrets. As for the ex-in-laws, they continue to be a problem to this day. Shortly after everything happened, they changed the locks on the home I was renting from them with my property still inside. After trying to civilly negotiate the return of the property, it was required that I involve law enforcement. That is an ongoing legal battle. A member of the family accused me of stealing property I had purchased from them prior to the death of the children and threatened to take action against me unless I paid double what I had already paid them. I alerted the authorities, and as far as I know, that is resolved. They continue to make visiting my children's grave difficult. During the 1-year anniversary, they sat in their truck and just watched me the whole time I was visiting the grave. Because of that, I don't visit the grave as often as I would like to. If I can impart on you something I have learned through all of this, it is that you should always take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they are asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros, even though you both know they will wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, "I love you, good night. I will see you in the morning."